You're listening to Polymatic.media, episode 69 for May 2020. Welcome to the Polymaticast. Hey, John, how's it going?
Nice.
Yeah, I was trying not to say that because I knew you were going to say that.
That should just be the episode title. Nice.
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 Yeah, I was trying not to say bow chicka wow wow. Yeah, so hi. Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Nerdy giggles. It's a funny number.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what? I don't want to think about it anymore.
It's better than thinking about other stuff.
Yeah. All right. So what's been going on?
I've been home a lot, but I have the next week off, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. So Otakon was canceled, out of safety, and before I had any idea or had any inklings to know something well in advance, I was just sort of waiting for it. And what most of these events are doing, they're only canceling when the event has chosen a path to take a conscious moment and say we have to close during that time frame, so that they can, from a legal and from an insurance perspective, not be at cost or penalized for contracts. Yeah. And then some of the people that are running the event that are core and crucial to the functionality of the event running, a lot of them are parents. So they think like more responsible adults. They don't take that lightly. As a mechanism of that, Otakon's canceled. Does that mean there isn't still stuff for me, like as a person who's sort of helping archive history? I do have to find a moment to figure out how to capture the conversation from people. I've not had that formal conversation piece with anybody, but I'm aware that should be an effort I make to talk to the president and talk to the current con chair and talk to the various people and record in the moment, at least during the time frame, what the impact of things are.
Yeah.
The reason to inform all that, and the first time I've had commentary on, it's canceled for 2020, that is where the bulk of my vacation time is allotted, aside from doctor appointments. So I don't know what to do with what I need to take some time off. And I literally, during these weeks, have been super intense for me, for work. I feel like I just want to say, this week, I'm taking the whole week off. But because there's no boundaries, everyone's going to just, insert right into that. There's very little boundaries now. So,
I had this time planned to use up some of my kilometers on my rental car.
Oh.
Because I rent a car and I can do about 12,000 kilometers a year.
Okay, got it. Like a yearly lease is what you're talking about, not
it's
a weekend
lease.
rental.
It's private lease.
Yeah.
So I have about 10,000 on the clock, and I've had the car for 3 years, and that's in kilometers, not miles.
Right, yeah.
If I do it for another year, I can renew it for another year. I would have 48,000 kilometers to do, and I have to take them out somewhere this or next year. So, yeah, I have too many kilometers on the car.
Yeah, you're paying for it, but you're not using it. Well, I mean, that's the reality. What most people do is they have cars, they go to and from in the various places, and they often aren't taking road trips or really not like utilizing, whatever the amount of miles, per a lease or a loan or whatever it is. A lease is usually have the restriction on loan. It doesn't matter. So the point is that a lot of cars stay still.
Yeah. Well,
and
mine's staying more still than most.
Yeah, and if you live in a culture that you can exist on bike perfectly because there are sidewalks and they're not just there for landscaping or inside the neighborhood, but they go between neighborhoods and they go between towns, and things like that. Then it makes a lot of sense that you probably don't need a car as much. I don't live in that culture. I live in a culture you need a car. Fundamentally, you need a car.
I also live about a kilometer and a half from my from the office, so yeah. Yeah. Not that there's anybody there right now because everything's closed.
Yeah, yeah, that's been an interesting paradigm. Now that I feel encouraged that I want to drive around and go places, I have this ethical morality that says, yeah, don't go anywhere that isn't necessary.
Hmm. But you got a shiny new toy, right?
Yeah, the thing we weren't talking about that was my big expense that was coming up that I was planning
You mean
for.
you mean the thing that you've been talking about on the podcast while I had to cut it out several times? Yes, that thing. Yes.
Yes, because you want to talk about it. And I've been sort of not talking about it, though some people are like, but I want to talk about it.
Well, you were the one to keep bringing it up, so I was like, yeah, okay.
I think I bring it up in context to priorities of planning for budget for stuff. Until the film kind of came around to go work on that, I just needed some gear. I don't mean like super fancy cinematic camera gear. I mean, I just needed enough gear to be able to operate, to be able to even have the possibility to be able to do the thing. And so that when you spend $200 here or there, maybe every, between months, it all adds up into thousands of dollars. The reality is I can always use iterations and improvements of certain things. I could always use a next camera. And even though they're not cheap, they're also compared to like, a C500 or a Red camera or an ARRI Alexa. They're very inexpensive solutions, but buying a camera body, but then buying plus the lens, and but then you got to buy the adapter. Oh, but you probably should put a cage on. Oh, you should probably rig together something else here and here. And these are the responsible budget things, not the, oh, well, I want to have the Cadillac of cameras. But buying like a Blackmagic, pocket cinema camera is a good starting point. But it does need lots of stuff to be able to be a functional mechanism, right? You got to buy battery packs. You got to buy the mounts. You got to buy the things. You got to buy the things for the mounts for the battery packs so that you can have a usable rig so that you could do hours worth of interviews with it. And so those things add up and they become thousands of dollars very quickly. And so those were where money was sort of going before I was making a conservative effort to put money towards the effort that I finally pulled a trigger on back in February. So, I bought a Model 3 as I said I was. I hear lots of people talk about the things they're gonna do, and then they just never do them because there were more fantasy conversations, and everyone rolls their eyes because they're tired of hearing about the fantasy conversation. Oh, I'm gonna get a band. I'm gonna get that Fender Strat, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and 20, 30 years happen, and they, they're just full of shit. So, I don't normally operate that way. I don't do anything crazy, but if I say, yeah, I'll put a budget together. This is a plan. Gonna do this, then I'll do that, then I'll buy one of these Blackmagic pocket cinema cameras and make decisions in that direction at some point. And I'll eventually, figure out if it's feasible and then plan for that. And then other things get in the way. But I eventually will carry through and I will do some diligence, enough diligence to understand my confidence on the subject. So I had determined that. And everyone's like, I might need a new car. And it's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I think for me, my path is Evie. And of the options that are available in the U.S., it's slim to none. But the best one that I've seen in the scope of all things is a Tesla. And the one that is in the most affordable zone of all this for me is a Model 3. And that is just at least 2 years ago, even last year, it was still current that is where the most set of modern technology had been. They had not revised the Model X or the Model S, vehicles yet. They kind of did a little bit of that for 2020. But the bulk of the full self-driving technologies and the moving forward mechanisms were fundamentally in the Model 3. So it was a clear, obvious choice for me for two primary reasons.
So which model did you get?
I got the long range, the dual motor, all-wheel drive. I was basically only a few $1,000s in terms of the cost of that loan to get the performance model, but I just didn't. Going super fast in 3.2 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers,
Well, you can always DLC it later.
Well, yes, there is. There's a plug-in for the vehicle that I have. But the point is, I didn't need that, right? And so, for the most part, until you get to the dual motor, basically all the vehicle models are very much the same. The long range plus, I think, so it physically has a little bit more battery in it. The long range obviously has more battery in it, and it has two motors. And then in the performance, it has two motors, except the electric motors are performance motors. They are different than what I have in my vehicle. And so most people think they're not. You don't just plug it in and become super fast. So the Tesla vehicles are smart. The whole car is smart. Everything about the car is smart. It's subtle and it's smart about it. It's also incredibly safe to drive. It's safe for me and it's safe for others. What's really most important here in the U.S., drivers are crap. Right? People don't pay attention. They cut each other off. They don't indicate. They just real inconsiderate. And the person I was carpooling basically every single day with to and from work, I mean, within that 20 minutes, we could get cut off, I don't know, easily 15 times. And 2 or 3 of them would be super dangerous because people are just sort of like diagonally cutting through everybody. And maybe that's a youthful arrogance. Maybe that's a physical problem with the person. Maybe it's a I don't give a crap attitude. Maybe just inherently they've always been a bad driver. But there's a lot of like careless driving on the road, and I don't want to be in a position where I'm just getting attacked all the time. And having a vehicle that could see more than 360 degrees around and respond in milliseconds is a wonderful, wonderful comfort to have, with this vehicle. So it's safe for so many good reasons. And so that's another fundamental reason to make one of those primary choices for this vehicle. But it's now not the new hotness anymore. It's the Model Y.
So you can upgrade at some point?
No, I'm going to pay my loan out, and I'm going to enjoy the car. And one of the things per my rant, you interjected in the rant, yes, there are some pluggable options. So I have all the options that I bought right up in front with the loan. And then between the time I took receipt of the car and when I initially did my order, there is a pluggable option for a couple $1,000 that you can, instead of my car going 0 to 60 or 0 to 100 kilometers, in 4.4 seconds is what it does today. 4.3 is actually what I think I heard. For $2,000, I can make it go basically a half a second less. So I can make it get to 0 to 100 kilometers in 3.9 seconds. I heard about it. I saw a video on someone doing test trials, and he got his vehicle down to somewhere around 3.8.
Okay.
So I mean,
yeah,
there's
for you.
nice little neat things to do, but that's $2,000, and I don't care about that part of it. I care about the range.
Yeah. So you got your Tesla stuff out of the way?
I mean, I barely have. I've driven it a few times. I didn't. I'm in a position right now where I really am not driving at all. I went to the market. That was it. I went to a couple markets. I went to the pharmacy the first day that I had it because I needed to go to the pharmacy, pick up stuff. But outside of that, I've done the trivial. I've not done anything real major fun with it, and I've not fully absorbed all the things it can do, and I haven't turned all the things on, and I don't know all the shortcuts yet, and that's fine. I want to discover those things organically. I will eventually get comfortable with all of it, and then eventually I'll start sitting in the car playing with, all the little things. I don't mean playing Stardew Valley in the vehicle, but, you get what I mean.
Have you tried Cuphead yet?
I don't know if I'm interested in Cuphead. Just by name alone, I think I've heard people talk about it a bunch of times. I'm not sure that I'm interested in Cuphead. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, there's all that. I think those things are going to be, when I eventually see some friends, they're going to be like, yeah, can we drive on Mars? I'm sure they're going to want to play with all the stupid stuff. All those like extra little things, which are neat and everything. But my fundamental day-to-day that's not why I bought the car. The only real major thing that I have, which also comes with a big, could be potentially a big expense, is I need to put a charger in the house. And I'm in a situation where I live in a townhouse, and I do have 2 parking spots in front of the house. And I live in this sort of small development where there's maybe less than 20 houses, and we have a cluster of like 9 or 10 on one side and 9 or 10 on the other. And they're separated by like a field, a small field, not a big one, but enough to walk your dog or for kids to play soccer or whatever in. So I have an HOA I got to interface with, who is tiny, which means it's really a few people, and those few people are sort of mostly non-responsive. And if they're responsive, it's a very limited window in which they talk to you. So they're not communicative. The other part of it is I also have a carport, because I'm one of the houses that doesn't have a garage attached to it. So if I did, this solution of putting a charger in would be easy. I call somebody up, a few $100. They'd run power to the thing, and then they call it a docking station, put the EV charger in. And then I'd be done. But I don't have that. And so I went down the path of, let's go what maybe a super fancy option is. How about you, because I'm an N unit house, there is access to my power meter on the corner of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they could put a circuit in and go ahead and trench, like several feet over to the corner of the property where, the parking spot is, put a post in and put the docking station in and be done. And I know what that number is, and that I could get to pretty quickly inside of May. And then I have to talk to the HOA. And the HOA is like, no, cosmetically, I'm not sure we want that. Right? And it's really just one person responding, not the collective, just one person. And that one person also owns a landscaping company for their profession. So they took it, but he did have a smart piece of advice. I also have a carport, I don't have the garage. So that carport is also on the end, basically parallel to the house. And it is also where the power comes in for that carport, where there's 3 lights on the house. I mean, on the carport, right? So that it lights up the parking lot space in the carport. So there's power that comes in. They had that work done when they rebuilt the carport. There's basically a panel right exactly in next to the on the side of the wall in my carport spot. There's also a 110 outlet, which I know I tested. My car charges off that fine. I ran it for 15 minutes just to see, because I tried to run the extension cord from the back of the house where there is a power outlet. There's the only one on the side of the house that's on the deck, and run all the way around, and that was just too much of a distance for it to get reliable, set of amps across. Yeah. So closing out the tangent is, I have this carport, and that one person suggested that I have the electric company split off the power that is fed up to that location, put in another power meter, have that power meter attached to my account, right? So that I get billed, and then have my electrician come in, put a panel in, put the docking station, and be done.
And have you control over that docking station, so you're not nobody else is charging off that thing.
Well, if it's in the carport, it won't likely be. You won't be able to see it.
Yeah, but if still people could still charge off it.
Sure, right. Yeah, I get that. And so I'll have a separate meter, so I'll know if someone is doing that because I'll be able to observe
But can't you
that.
like lock it or something?
So what I can do is if I get to that concern and it pisses me off, what I did is I started looking at what the docking stations are, and there are a lot of different options. I went with Tesla's because it was, I would say, it's probably the most affordable of the options, but it's also the one that's going to give me the most power draw, efficiency on power draw. So through the app, I can control how the car is charging. That's connected to the car, but I don't have a separate app for the charger itself. Does not have that level of intelligence. Chose this one from financial and just from currently a smart thing. But there are a couple other charging stations that have adapters for Tesla but aren't native to charging specifically at Tesla. They do have a lot of those sort of smart options where I can go in and set the schedule to be something where when I'm not home, people can't be charging on it.
Huh. Have you considered like putting a plug at the front of your porch or something? Because
I wouldn't do that because the same kind of aesthetic arguments people are gonna make, and I don't know if I did it underneath the porch or something, and I don't know how you get to that. Maybe, and then I could run a cord across, and the smartest thing for me to do is to just bite the bullet, spend some money, and put something in. Going and paying for a complicated solution was, I put money out. That electric company that I talked to that specializes in these kinds of things and more complicated electric solutions, they would just put the permits in, whatever, do the stuff, do their work. It's an expense, but that was probably going to be the easiest path to getting something achieved.
And then it doesn't matter if it's in the carport or in your front yard.
And in this case, if it's in the carport, the complexity is getting the electric company to mosey on out and go do the correct thing and put a meter in and do the right thing there. And I think that's the sort of external force, because most common utilities, unless it's an urgent thing, they're not gonna do anything real fast.
Not right now, anyway.
Yeah, and definitely not now. So I think that's the most complex part of it. I took pictures. I emailed the power solutions company that I had basically consulted with. It's been basically maybe hopefully Monday, Tuesday, I'll hear back from them. I think they are the ones who are supposed to or have to go reach out to the power company anyways to go see and find out. And I don't know what that cost is. It's a big unknown. Mm-hmm. I know what the one expensive unknown is. I don't know what that expensive unknown is. If I'm lucky, it's like a few $100 because they want people to put EVs in.
Could you get a subsidy for that?
There's a rebate that I can engage as soon as I have it. And so that basically neutralizes the high end of my expenses of charging. It literally is kind of neutralizing. When I was looking at it, I was like, what would it cost when I do the numbers based on the variable rate, not on a super high expensive peak rate. A variable rate, basically, for me, it would cost me about $5 to fill the whole car up.
Yeah, except when you look at like a gas car, that's about $50.
Well, here in the U.S., it can range, but you're looking at a minimum of $25 to $35.
Yeah.
Because most cars are doing 15 gallons, and the rates around here are basically, I mean, if you just take a slightly high, I don't pay attention to the gas prices anymore. But we're talking at least $3. $2 and change. But when you average it up on a high end, you're looking at $3 a gallon. So, I mean, yeah, you might be right about so $35, $40.
Mm-hmm. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, so, and what's going to happen if it's running on a peak or something like that? Okay, so even if it was $10, right, it's still
cheaper than
yeah. It is for me, the variable rate is basically, it's not even 6.5, it's like 6.4 and change per kilowatt an hour.
How many dollars an hour?
It's
How many dollars per kilowatt?
the kilowatt hour charge is like 6 cents.
That's cheap.
That's
You know how much we pay here? 22 euro cents per kilowatt.
okay. Yeah, so it's a lot higher. But that's it's where I live. Is it more in the city? I don't know. Probably less actually. Is it more in the middle of nowhere? Probably.
You probably have your own generator.
But it's not even 6.5 cents at the variable rate. Now, they have all your fancy charges. When I run that number across the $70 or whatever, the 70, it was actually 69 and some change kilowatts last month. But I also in this house, definitely while I was trying to adjust. Actually, that's not true. That was March. 69 was March. 50 some change was April. But when I run through that calculator, there's like service charges and this charge and that charge and peak charge and that charge. And the reason that I'm eating up so much kilowatts is because I have a second fridge in the house upstairs in the kitchen. I've been running the heater on and off because I'm home and it gets cold.
Is your heater electric?
It is. It's a heat pump.
Uh-huh.
So everything runs off that. For the most part, there's light efficient bulbs in the house in most of the places. I have maybe like 18 bulbs or something that I can replace. I haven't replaced yet.
So you got yourself a nice car?
I did. Yeah. So I ran it for 40 minutes. Is that what I did? Yeah.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, but you
about 30 minutes.
This is basically a sourdough starter, and you kept feeding it.
I did no such thing.
This is how this thing works. This show works. So anyhow, that's it. I bought a new car, and I do have a challenge for the EV stuff. Here's your consolidation point, John, if you just want to edit
No.
So I do have some challenges there. And like all things that were going to cause me anxiety prior to the unknowns, I'm in this position where I don't know what the complexity and how long. I know that I can successfully charge in the carport from the thing there. I tried to talk to that one individual and I said, hey, can we at least in the meantime, me give you like $50 a month in cash and then whatever the extra charges over the cost of lighting up the carport, and then you'll let me know if there's a higher average over that and I'll take care of it. And he's like, yeah, find out what the electric company says first. Like he's real just hesitant to come into an agreement that's easy. I still want to get something done. I just don't know. I think he'll lax up on the subject of it if I say the electric company says it's going to take 4 months to do that. And then he might go.
Why don't you get like one of those power meters? Like one of those power, like you can put them in between a socket and
you mean like a regulator or something?
No, it will just mark up whatever the total amount is.
The usage. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that could be a good point. I could look into that. That's a good idea.
And just tell them, hey, okay, so if we use this thing, we'll put that in, and then whatever it says on the meter, we'll do.
Yeah. But I'm not without options. I mean, the township has ones you can pay for. They're like pay network, and most of those are like 40 cents I think it's like 40 cents a kilowatt hour. I think that's what it is. So if I was to top off the car, I can get level 2 charging, and maybe in not even like 90 minutes or something, I could fill the whole car up, top it off. And that's probably an adventure I'm going to go out and do today. There at the township, there's a couple of those near the mall. There's a bunch of those. There's a bunch of free Tesla ones, level 2 sitting in the parking lot of our mall. I've not identified it, but most importantly, the mall, I think historically is shut down. I have not checked on it in a while, but when March happened and all the things happened, they just shut them all down.
Yep.
And so, it may not be a friendly place to go drive over there. Cops might be, driving around. And I know somewhere in the mall space area, there are other pay network chargers that I can sit and chill for, a little bit of time and play Stardew Valley in the car.
Stardew Valley?
Stardew Valley is in there. There's a whole like arcade toolbox and a bunch of Easter eggs and stuff. So,
well, I think you'd bring your Switch or something.
I could do that. I'd probably just watch stuff off the phone. That just seems easier. When you're trying not to power drain the car. That's the fun thing is if I want to sit in the car and watch videos and watch all the tutorials and do all the things for 6 hours, I'm just draining the car. So until I, can go move the car into the carport, tap it and charge it off and top it off, I'm being careful about power usage or just general play around, sit in the car. So I bought some accessories. No, I mean simple things like I put the tempered glass in for the monitor in yesterday. That came yesterday, so I popped on out at the end of my workday and I put that thing in, put an organizer in. I think I have some sound foam dampening stuff coming probably today that allows me to sort of line the rims of the doors just to super seal it up to make it sound pretty quiet. And then I bought little stickers for the door buttons to open up the door. You wouldn't know where the button is if you didn't know where the button existed. So what people do is they put little stickers on for people who are not in, who don't know their car. Where it shows a little door lock open. Click this thing. Because there's a little lever that you can wrench up, and that is a manual override lever to pop the door open if you need.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I also bought some cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, cool stuff. I have a new phone, which is the Nokia 7.2.
Yeah, how's that doing?
I had the 7.1. I like the phone, but the microphone on it is shit.
Well, so is this the Android Go? Did you had that for like a moment, right?
I had the Android One. Yeah, it's 7.1. The Nokia 7.1 is Android Go, Android One.
Oh, it was called One. I called it Go, but maybe I just had that wrong.
Yeah, and the Android, the Nokia 7.2 is also Android One.
Okay.
So it's like a normal smartphone. It's good enough.
It's good enough for you. Yeah, I mean, I don't play games on mine. My phone is outdated by 2 major generations already. And
neither do I. I don't need a fancy phone.
The camera
I still have an iPhone 8.
This camera is fine. I use it for simple pictures, but if I really am interested in photographing something of some serious nature, I have a better camera for that. My life isn't the one device. I have other devices that are specialized for whatever I need.
I think if I compare the camera's pretty good. The problem is the microphone, because it sounds like it's so tinny. It's so bad. It's not a great video device. Although it can shoot 4K, the microphone is just utter garbage. Don't buy it if you want to make videos or something. Yeah. It's not great.
Well, these are not flagship phones. Maybe they are for Nokia, but they're not meant for the Samsung or the Pixels, right? It's not an equivalent device.
Yeah, but the camera's pretty good, right? The camera itself is pretty okay. The problem is the microphone. It's just unintelligible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I won't call you on it.
Yeah, I didn't buy it for
you could talk through your videos. Bluetooth headset.
Yeah, get one of those.
I mean, you have them.
Well, there is a USB-C port on it, so I could probably hook up a microphone to it that way. Maybe that'll work.
You could, but if you're using it for a video device, okay, yeah, I get that. But if you're using it for a phone and you want something slightly better, you're probably going to do better by whatever Jaybirds you have or whatever.
Yeah. They're pretty good.
That will probably likely have a better situation, even though the mics are much farther away from your mouth.
Yeah, well, I'm not a vlogger or anything, so I'm not going to use it for that.
Right.
Anyway, I also bought another Switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Want to hear the story about that one?
Well, so you could do some streaming on it. That's a
Well,
that's a
my
that,
initial so I had some like gift cards that I had to use, and I added some extra money, and then I bought another Switch.
right. Yeah.
First of all, they will keep their value for a while. I can always sell it if I want to. I wanted to do some streaming with Animal Crossing, and then when I bought the Switch, I figured out that you cannot transfer the island,
No. Yeah, I heard that right up front.
which is kind of annoying. You cannot do, um, so it doesn't do it through cloud save. You can't do it like from Switch to Switch.
Yeah,
Like if you
it's not.
get a new Switch, you can transfer it
Yep.
over. So all my progress would be lost. So that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, so
Um,
I mean, I think that's kind of a sucky thing. I wish they did that, but the problem is it's physically attached to your.
no, it really isn't.
Well, no, I mean, in the way it works today, it's physically attached to the Switch that you have. So if
Yeah,
you
it's all a
if
software
you
problem.
dropped your
It's not.
Switch into a canyon for some reason and didn't recover it and it broke, and you want to
All
play,
your villagers are dead.
everything is gone. The whole situation for you is gone because it was attached to
Your island is
that
gone.
that device, right?
Mm,
They had to have designed it consciously like that.
I don't think so.
Um, well, somebody,
You want another island? Just buy another Switch. Well, did
yeah.
that.
Well, in your case, you didn't get another full-on standard Switch. You bought the Lite. So
Yeah.
I mean, a little less expensive, and also,
Yeah, but my idea was that I could transfer the island to my new
right,
Switch, and then I could just play with that account on that one, and then on my
right, Switch accounts.
real Switch, I could do the streaming stuff.
You know,
But it's probably not
it's
going to happen
interesting
now.
because when you let's say reboot your Switch and you freshly start the game up, it puts you into basically a splash screen with settings, which would be a perfect place to switch account profiles or switch
Well, no, even if you start it up, you get asked which
or
profile
which
you want.
island do you want.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would be the right.
Right, so it's like they have the infrastructure to and the right places in the UI to do the right thing, but it's just not doesn't work that way today. And that was clearly a conscious decision on somebody's part to say
Well,
that
you can
should be
have
designed.
you
that
can
way.
log into your island with multiple accounts on the same Switch, so you can have multiple personas walk around that
Right.
island. Right.
But you can't
So
have the same island. So it has to be attached to your account profile.
and it is the same island. So you are on that
Right.
island.
So if you have a
same island.
secondary account profile, you can visit your island as your second account profile now
Yeah.
on
yeah.
that Switch.
Funny. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of a bummer, but I'm still enjoying playing around with the
Yeah.
Switch, the Switch Lite. I love the weight of it. I have the original Switch, not the original Switch, but the second edition of that, and it's heavy compared to this one. I love that this is very light. It especially if you sometimes have like issues with your arms or something, like with the RSI or whatever, not having too much pressure on it really helps. So I think the Switch Lite really works for me in that way.
Yeah. So Bryce had gifted me a Pro controller. That was my whatever holiday gift. So I just fundamentally use that, and I rarely ever hold the Switch. It doesn't feel uncomfortable to me the way it normally is laid out on the edge, where the controller's on the edge. But I basically play it docked.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
because
So
I
you
don't use it frequently, and I wasn't using it frequently on the dock. It was sitting in the dock. I don't think the battery has much patience. After a half hour, 40 minutes, when it's out of the dock, it's like, oh, battery low. Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
that's why I was like, oh, I don't think I can get my Switch to turn on. Oh, I can't get Switches right now, in the U.S. So that seemed to be a bit of a problem for me. And But in my normal way, I do the Switch. I always have it plugged in. So I think the battery is basically has a short life on it now, because it wasn't really being. It was just sitting there draining, and when I turned it on, it was like 14%. The first time in months. So I play with the Pro controller, and I don't have any sense of weight about it because I don't. And more importantly, I don't. I'm okay with it, but I don't love controlling games spread out like that. I like
Hmm.
it consolidated in like a console controller.
Well, if you're the battery replacement on the Switch is pretty easy. So you could try like swapping out the
Yeah,
battery. You can buy a battery pretty cheaply.
it's not a priority at this moment.
No, I
Yeah,
understand, but
and more importantly,
if it were to come to
yeah, and
that,
more importantly, I think the one time I was traveling, I didn't even bother to run it off on its battery. I was traveling last year. No, more recently, even was it this year? No, it was definitely last year. I in the hotel room, I just had one of those USB chargers, and I tapped it and charged fine, and so I just did that. Um, I think. Oh, even when I was flying, I just didn't pull it out. I don't know. It's only like 90-minute flight, so it just didn't see the
yeah,
need to do that. So
yeah. So well, I do notice that there's a difference between the Switch Lite and
right.
Switch in battery power
I
because
noticed
the Switch Lite
some.
goes down
Oh,
faster.
okay. Less battery.
So yeah, smaller battery. So that's the thing. I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
What is that game? Yeah.
Our new addiction.
Anyway, no, we're not going to talk about Animal Crossing here.
No.
We've talked about it too much already.
Yeah.
Um, I had so I got second copy of Animal Crossing for the Switch. I was unable to get the
Which
physical.
is the reason you bought the second Switch.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, another plan busted.
So between last
That's
show
fine.
and this show, I started playing Animal Crossing. I will say, if we weren't locked down, I would likely have not bothered, because I was looking for a meaningful place to sort of vent energy, where I just
Mm-hmm.
needed to burn it off at the end of the night. And I was noticing the habit of me playing some PC games, but they were playing them real passively and like watching Netflix in the corner or YouTube or something like that. Oh, and I re-got Netflix, um,
Yeah, me too.
primarily because I was starting to run out of things. Though there's a bunch of stuff in Disney Plus I've not looked at yet. Um, I rented a bunch of movies in between all of that, and then at that point, I already basically paid for a subscription to Netflix. And then when I re-enabled it, I saw a bunch of things where they charged me, but then they refunded me that. I guess in the first month, they're literally giving me, even though I am now back on plan. I think through April, they basically didn't charge me. They charged me and
Okay.
then uncharged me. I was like, well, okay.
Huh.
And so I guess that's because I was a long-term, subscriber member. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens in May. Um, so I started watching stuff again, but also
Yeah.
I can attach that to the car. I mean, that wasn't the
Well,
primary reason. That was just an extra side thing in my brain.
I also did some measuring, and I might have to not get the 32-inch Cintiq
Don't have the room.
that I had planned on getting because it's too big.
So you,
It'll basically fill up this desk.
why don't you get like one of those rolling little tables or something that like they put TVs or microwaves on in kitchens. So you could position a little
Because
cart, right, where you can have the Cintiq and you could be near it and do your thing.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No. Doing art on one of those is
Can
gonna
you
be hell.
can you mount it to like a Visa mount and get a bunch of mounts for your desk, or you can swing it
Yeah,
out?
but The problem with that is that because it's not on your desk, it's dangling. So if you move it, you're usually on the monitor with your hands or arms and stuff, right? So you're doing artwork.
Sure, but you can get these Visa
So
mounts that swing out, and then you could probably 3D print a clamp or something to keep it.
I understand, but these things are heavy.
Okay.
So whenever you move them a little bit, they'll wobble, right? So if you're trying to draw on that, it's annoying. I've already seen that happen, so I'm not doing that.
So that would pull you out of your streaming space, but could you do something like this on your kitchen table?
No.
You've literally no other place in your house.
Oh, no, it's not that, but it's like, it's very big.
Yeah.
And it's a huge fucking screen.
Okay.
As big as my last TV. So, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going for the 24-inch probably, but it's also still $2,000 bucks. Yeah. So, and then it doesn't even come with a stand. The stand is $600 extra.
Does it have wheels on it?
But it's a stand that will work really well, right?
I was going to say, does it have wheels on it?
No, it does not have wheels on it, and that's probably for the best.
Where they charge you $400 for them.
Well, I did buy the Cintiq 16 this year.
Yeah.
So I have the smaller model, the not pro version of it. And it's pretty good. The stand is also $100 extra, so you have to buy the stand. But the cool thing about the stand for the 24 Pro is that it has, or 22 Pro, 24. I think it's 24.
Greater than 16.
Yeah, it's a bigger monitor. It's also closer to the one I used to have, so I had the 21UX. And this one, the 24, has a swivel, so you can rotate the screen. So you can not just tilt it up and down like the 16 currently, but you can also tilt it like the 21UX I used to have. And I used to do that a lot. So having that swivel thing is probably good. But I think there's also a mount that you can have that has like a counterweight, so you can move it off your desk. So even if I were to get the 32, like wait a little bit longer, get the 32, I could move the monitor, put the monitor on my desk, but then when I wanted to draw, just move it, like it will tilt over the edge of the desk. So it's like not on the desk, it's like floating kind of. But I'll send you a link later, show you what it looks like. But yeah, I've got things to figure out what I want to do with this, because it currently also houses all the podcast gear, that desk. So yeah, I'll have to figure out stuff.
Restructure it. Yeah, I am looking forward to the day I replace the monitor upstairs, and then I rejigger all the main area for the desk. And then in that effort, the plan is to get the ATM Mini Pro switcher from Blackmagic and integrate a streaming, capable situation there for myself, as well as sort of making the desktop clean and minimal, and not me just piling crap and wires everywhere, cable manage everything tightly and stuff like that. So I'm looking for the day I get to work on that, but my starting point in my brain is got to start with mounts and a monitor.
Well, if you want to stream, you don't really need that much.
No, I don't, but I just have this problem where I've not really been managing the desktop space.
You just need the gear. You really need the gear.
I haven't been managing.
Just want to buy the gear, dude.
It's not even that. It's that I have not been managing that space, and so I sort of reclustered, all the filming gear. The idea is that I'm supposed to grab it and run, put it in the car, go. So that's why it's all sitting up there instead of just sort of collecting dust down here. So I can access that stuff quickly, and it's all just sitting in the corner of the living room. But behind that space also is where I'm living the most now, and I need to like clean that up. And the thing is, part of the cleanup is wanting to consolidate my monitors, and to have one big monitor so that I can really only look in one direction most of the time, and then I'll take one of those two monitors. It'll be dedicated to the Switch, so I could just swivel, play Animal Crossing. Don't have to touch the monitor and make it switch its inputs and do all the things.
I'm sending you some pictures of my current setup.
Yeah, you sent those before. Have you changed it? Oh, okay.
Well, not really. I really did move stuff around recently, so don't remember if that was with the last episode or not.
I don't know that. I think you might. I know that you gave me like a tour, but yeah, and these I think are different pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too. So anyway, so yeah, I have a lot of stuff to figure out with regards to technology, and then I might like sell the old Cintiq. The old. It's like 3 months old.
The old.
Yeah. Well, I like it a lot. It's just a little bit too small, I think, for me right now.
Yeah.
I think I need the bigger screen. It's workable, but I get it's a bit too cramped, I think.
Can you use it in conjunction with something else in your house, like a place where you make stuff, like 3D print things?
No, it's not for me. I usually do that kind of stuff with my mouse or something. So it's not really useful for that.
Okay.
Even for like video production stuff is not great.
Well, I wouldn't expect it would be. It's a drawing tablet.
Mm-hmm. But if I get like the 24, I might also have to switch out the video card in my computer because I think it's like a 4K screen and stuff. And you know.
The what do you have now? I thought you had a 1060 in one of your systems.
Yeah, I have a 1060 and I have a RX 480.
Okay.
The RX 480. Yeah, 6 gig, like a desktop. You know, just a Radeon video card for the art machine, and it's fine for that, right? It even does video acceleration for encoding for if I want to do it like when I'm doing streaming, so that's pretty good. Love it.
Yeah, OBS depends on that stuff. It functions,
but I'm not playing games on it, so
right.
You know.
But
if I were to play games, I were to play Stardew Valley, and I would do that on my on the Switch,
right,
which is hooked up to a TV, which is right in front of me. I think it was in one of the pictures. I think I did that. Yeah, the TV. You can see the TV in that.
Yeah,
that's what my Switch is hooked up to.
So I want to have a dedicated device for things like the Switch, so that I don't have to kind of, go have a monitor missing, whatever it is. And then, like I said, I just kind of want to reorganize the desk, and I want to do it. And I've been meaning to buy new monitors, and I bought like a touchscreen monitor for us to do Artemis with, and then I bought another one because I needed it. I felt like I needed like a second monitor or something on my desk, and I wanted something bezel-less as much as possible. And so I bought two monitors, and I have them sort of connected in my situation. And what I'll do with that is one of those will be dedicated up there at the desk, and it will likely probably be the Dell touchscreen. I might even put a mount on it too. And then I'll take that other side one and I'll replace this sort of TV that I'm using down here as a monitor. And so I'm just going to repurpose the gear, inside of what I'm already doing. And then I'm going to try to clean it up aesthetically and simplify it. And, that's why I was buying these glass, shelving mechanisms.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
Yeah. And how's it working out? They handle heat so well.
Oh, well, I didn't have any heating problems with that, but I have my I have the mixer on it behind me with the recorder. And I've taken out the headphone amp because I'm not using it. I'm not using it for more than one person, so I just plug straight into the mixer.
I live off the headphone amp. Well,
I don't have any visitors for the podcast, so
right. Lately, I haven't either.
I was looking at getting the L12, but it's still unavailable. So it's really annoying.
What about the L8?
And the L8 as well.
Yeah.
All of the Zoom stuff is gone.
It's interesting that that's happening for you right there. They're pretty easy to get a hold of around here. Well, I don't know about the L8,
Oh,
but I know that
it's in.
I can order
They
them.
have it in stock now.
Oh, they do. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. New toy.
No, I'm not spending money on that right now. I'm saving the money for the new Cintiq.
Yeah.
It's more important right now.
So I think this is the roving conversation is where we spend our money and holding on to money. I will tell you, though, the extra effort of holding on to money aggressively through May and April showed me clearly I can save a lot of money if I am just not constantly working towards budgetary goals of new gear for new purposes.
I just think that I think you always have to like keep a little bit of a reserve, right? So you always have to like keep some money apart for like accidents and stuff,
right?
and
Yeah,
things that need to happen. So
yeah, no, I mean,
it's always nice to have a little bit of a buffer.
I generally do iterating gear because I had short term targets. Was part of it. Where I spent a bulk of money last year, and definitely end of like 2018, was towards the goal of the filming stuff. But I needed rigging, I needed lighting, and I want cheap. I didn't go buy a bunch of aperture gear or Godox lights, right? Super crazy. $1,000 lights or $500 lights that need $300 power packs and need $300 or $200 battery mounts, and I didn't do that. I spent $130, bought a bunch of Viltrox, that are by color, and $150 with a lighting stand that's like cheap and flimsy but works, right? I bought a bunch of stuff like that. I did on super budget. It does super work. I do need to add a light into the housing, but my goal, my aggressive nature of needing it for this year in a few months is shot. I don't need to do that. I can do it at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I can plan on that.
I also flip the old gear usually.
Yeah.
So I have like when I got the new Cintiq 16, I sold my 21UX.
Yeah. So
and that got me another $400 back. So yay! I basically got the new Cintiq for cheap.
Those are definitely smart behaviors that I don't have. I use things until they're done, or until I'm done with them, and I built a.
Well, you can't really like do two Cintiqs on your PC. Well, you can do it, but it's not
right. Yeah.
You're not going to be drawing on them at the same time.
Right, but like for example, the computer we're talking on, I bought this on a whim because I needed something, and I spent not even $1,000, and it was never meant to be more than a basic system to funnel audio in and out of it digitally with Skype, and also as a sort of a recording monitor screen, and that's it. That's what I bought it for. It's not super fancy. It does exactly what it was meant to do. I have done a power upgrade. I put a much bigger hard drive in it. That's it. That's all I've done. You know what I mean? So I will use it in my brain. There's some part of my brain that says replace it, but I don't have an extra purpose for this, right?
Yeah.
And, someone like my father was like, oh, I'll take it. And then it'll sit on a shelf. And then it was like, do you want it back? And I'm like, no, that's why I gave it to you. Right? Like I have it could be used to run something like an IoT thing in the house if I needed it to. But it's, it does exactly what it needs to do. I turn it on. It serves my purpose. It's a little slow comparatively to all the other modern gear I got. And it does what I need it to do, and it does nothing more or nothing less than I need it to. If I want to,
well, until it blows up, and then
right.
you need to get it.
But but that's how I treat things. Is I'll take care of it a little bit, I'll use it, and then it goes into a pile that sits in a corner over there until I need to call 1-800-JUNK. And pile up all the stuff. And I have all those servers. You remember those servers? Like, what am I doing with them? They're just sitting there off. They were killing my power.
Yeah.
And so I need to literally just pull all the drives out and pile them all up, call 1-800-JUNK, put them in the back of their their truck.
And run a degausser overhaul the hard drives.
Just get rid of crap I don't need. Get rid of these old boards. I can't trust. There's only one of those boards that's sitting in the corner there, like that I can trust is reliable. And then also boxes. Get rid of boxes. What am I doing? All these boxes sitting in the back there. Like, I just need to get rid of the physical crap. That's its own project. In like 10 years.
Anyway, so if you are into Animal Crossing, you bought some stalks, you bought some turnips.
Yeah.
There is a website called Turnip Profit, Polymatic.media, and it's for determining when to sell your turnips. So we did talk a little bit about Animal Crossing. Just wanted to share this link so Alan can go and have a look at it later.
You too can turn a profit.
Yeah. Turn a profit.
Yeah.
It's not like profit, like you're making money, but like profit, you're prophesizing it.
Yeah.
So it tells you when the most likely highest peak in your week is going to be.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
So you want to do the fun stuff, the links to stuff?
I mean, we might as well. They're all bored with all our my ranting and all our long ranting, our long conversation. Hey, look, you only get one of these a month, and I'm sure that satiates all the 60 people that we
considering that the last episode went up a week before this is recorded.
yeah, the way these things
late. Sorry about that.
The way the things work out, you were so distracted with Animal Crossing.
No, I was not distracted with Animal Crossing. I was just very busy.
Yeah.
I just didn't get to it.
Yep. Okay, so you got the first one.
Yep. Spaceship U by CGP Grey.
Yeah.
Polymatic.media. It's about, the situation we're all in right now. And he helps with some tips about, making it less annoying. What do you think of it?
I watched it. Was this out a while ago or is this most recent?
This is like last week.
Okay, because it seemed real familiar to me. It seemed like I'd seen it before. I mean, the best advice is stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. That's it. Wear masks. Don't be sloppy. Be considerate. Right? And anything else above and beyond that, like making your own sourdough bread or whatever it is. I mean, those are all fringe stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we are getting to the point. We are not getting to the point we can laugh about this yet. We are not at that point yet. This is why I didn't share a particular video that was like, yeah, I'll tell you later. But we will be, hopefully. I just don't know when. With that said, moving along on the topic of EV stuff, this is a channel that I do follow, that I do enjoy. It's fairly unbiased, and it shows that definitely in Europe there are so many more EV options and definitely much more affordable choices compared to, let's say, in the U.S. But this is one of those that's really cool, and this isn't London, this isn't in the U.S., and it would have been really awesome if something like this existed here. For me, maybe that would have been the thing to put in the parking spot or the carport. But this goes to Fully Charged, which is the YouTube channel I generally recommend if you're interested in all EV stuff, which isn't just exclusive to vehicles. This is a pop-up charger. This is meant to go on typical roadways, anywhere in urban landscapes where the charger pops up out of the ground. Pretty nifty. This would be like a pay service kind of solution. Polymatic.link/U1.
Okay, and we got some Animal Crossing sound design. Polymatic.link/TP.
Yeah.
It's mostly about the different sounds in certain parts of Animal Crossing. And did you?
I did watch it. It's a good video.
Mm-hmm.
And I consciously recognize all these things. I just don't talk about them. Surprisingly.
Have you gone to the Nooks? Have you got the Nook shop yet?
I have, but I have not
Nook's
gone
Grand?
through that last 10-minute point of the time between 9:50 and 10. So I will
Yeah.
make an effort to try to recall to do that.
Do you have the emote for sleepy yet? For like you're
I
sleepy?
don't think I do.
Well, if we should do like a thing where I hop over to your island around that time, and then I can do the emotes and make them look sleepy.
Oh, is that what it? Oh, make him look sleepy during the time. Okay, it doesn't do anything,
Yeah.
unlock anything special. Got ya.
No, it's just it's pretty funny, pretty cool
Yeah.
to see. So Polymatic.media/TP for Animal Crossing sound design.
Yep. I had this in the list. It's kind of good. I know there was a Wonder Woman trailer or something, the second one or something that was coming out. So someone made a mashup, Wonder Woman 1984, the Elastic Girl version. So I wanted to share that. Polymatic.link/TW. I thought it was pretty good. And then when I watched it again last night, I was like, yeah, that was pretty good. It applies really well.
Okay, we get some prison technology stuff that's used in prisons and what the rules for those are and stuff, and
Keeping
pretty interesting.
the tape cassette alive.
Yep. Polymatic.link/TQ for that.
Yeah. Okay, so I always look for short films. I have attached to. I find things all the time. This was in the list. I don't know. I found it in music in the strangest of ways. The Shoe Purse. Polymatic.link/TY.
At least it wasn't the banana shirt.
No, I guess I shared this already. I noticed I had like a second one on there that was like, oh no, I already shared that. Why didn't I remove it from my list?
Okay, I've got some sorting. And we all have the time right now to do some sorting.
Yeah.
So Polymatic.link/TU for this was the one with the 3D printed sorting cabinet, right?
Yeah, and handles and little bins, and then he put together the drawers and everything.
Yeah.
Made a pretty nice looking movable cart. So
Yeah, especially the concrete blocks in the bottom.
yeah, well, it's stuff like that I would love to make, and I have access to my father's shop. I don't know how big it is, and he doesn't have a lathe, but he has a lot of things that I could use. Actually, I don't know. He might have a lathe. Knowing my father, he's like, oh, I'm going to go buy. Like, that's where he spends money on gear, right? He goes and buys stuff like that so that he can just, I'm going to do a thing.
Well, you talk about these lathes, and I have actually been looking at getting one. The problem is that in my apartment, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, but you need to go get yourself a shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, and then you'll then go crazy with your 3D printing, and then you'll go crazy with a lathe. But is there any like hacker places, like maker places in your
Yeah, but
area?
they'd probably not be open right now.
Well, they wouldn't be right now. Or if they are, they're doing something for humanity.
And they might be closed, like probably permanently from this moment on, because they probably won't survive this kind of stuff.
Oh, because of the cost of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna happen. It's a lot of things. Yeah. All right. Okay. So another one of these maker people that I follow. I enjoy this guy, Peter Brown. Polymatic.link/TZ. He does stuff with resin. And he was using iron filings to try to capture the magnetic lines in resin. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Polymatic.link/TZ.
I think that if you would have dropped some of the filings on top of it and then let the magnets draw them down, it would have probably worked better than trying to fill the mold when the filings are already in
Yeah,
it.
I watched the video a while ago, and I had some opinion when I was watching the video. Well, why don't you just do it that way, or this way, or that way, and that would have been a little easier, right? And I'm sure for all makers, people who have their shops and they make these videos, he will likely iterate on it at some point. I mean, it might be 3 years from now, but he might have this idea where he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do a." One of the people that I follow who does lots of turning with lathes and resin stuff. He made this interesting globe, and so the ocean was filled with blue resin. And then he recently, I don't know why this week, but he went and he sort of shaved it a little bit and made it a little smaller and gave it a new mount, and that was his video. And I'm like, I don't know why he's iterating on it, but it took him like a year before him to ever touch the thing again, to do a second. He didn't make a second globe. He just made iterated on something he was doing. So,
Okay.
you never know. He might go put some comments on there. Maybe he'll see them.
Okay, so got some music.
Yeah.
MXM tune, Fever Dream. There's two versions of this. The one is the remix. That's how I got there.
Yeah.
And then the original version. Polymatic./TR for the original version, and Polymatic/TS for the remix by Sean Wasabi.
Yeah.
I love his stuff, by the way. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I like his stuff too.
Pretty good. It's pretty.
I've watched his
nice
videos.
tunes.
I have not owned any. I don't own anything. But
And then I've got another link from Sean Wasabi, Lemons, whose latest track is Polymatic/TT.
yeah, that's pretty good too. I feel like I don't know about Lemons, but I feel like the other two you must have sent me because I feel like I've seen them before. Because they sounded real familiar to me. And then I had one, I don't know, a more recent discover, but I have not gone through the effort of like checking out everything on Spotify and buying all the albums or whatever. But Polymatic.link/U0 from an artist, I guess an artist named June, A Little Messed Up is the song.
Yeah. And it's like an animated video, music video.
Yeah. Did you like the music? Okay. I had a thought. It's like, if of all things, this might very well be the only one that is like something Jai will listen to. I mean,
it's like if it needs to hit like a certain thing, like it needs to have something unique in it, and I don't know if this. I haven't listened to it like enough
right
to be able to. Like, it usually shows up in like one of my like random, air quotes, random Spotify lists. I just check it out, and then I might put it on here and see if it picks up into my normal like good stuff list.
Right. Interesting.
Like I have several lists of types of moods and things that I like to put stuff on, and I need to figure out if it is going to happen, if it's going to be put on that list or not.
Yeah. I don't drive by that. I will have things that I need to counter my current mood. If I'm in a surly mode, it's typically because of work. Just because they're doing things that, sort of trigger that problem in me at times. But
it's more like I have sets of music that I use for while I'm drawing. I have sets of music for when I'm coding. Right, there's certain things that I don't want to listen to when I'm coding because it will mess me up, and I'll start thinking about how drawing and stuff, and like, I need to go do this.
Got ya. Yeah, I don't have too much of that associative problem at all. I will say though, in the car, I've only played a little bit of music, but it sounds good.
You hooked up an SSD?
I did hook up an
SSD.
I split it in half, one for Century, which does drain power. Until I solve a power draining solution, I'll only turn it on if I, feel the need, like, I'm in a parking lot or leaving my car unattended for a while. But for the most part, yeah. And then I put 40, 41, almost 42 gigs worth of basically copy of my MP3s on it. But when I popped in the car, my phone was connected and I started playing music and it just played whatever the current playlist was on my phone. So some part of my brain is like, maybe I'll just reformat the drive and it'll be all just Sentry mode. And then I'll never care about playing music off of it because I can just do it through my phone. You know what I mean? It's just because I can synchronize between this and the desktop real easily, and then it's only 2 places that I'm used to, not like 3 places where I gotta pull the SSD out and do the thing. Like I might as well just
re-upload everything.
Yeah. I don't know. The drive is there for the Sentry mode mostly, so I have it split right now until that day becomes a thing, and I will. I mean, I could pop it out, go synchronize it, be done. It's not the end of the world.
Too bad you can't hook up your car to your home network and then
it is.
Have it like a shared
hard drive
directory. You can just upload your
well, one day maybe
drive.
Dropbox or Google Drive or something will be an integration point for it. But for now it's not. And there's no real marketplace for those kinds of things. Typically they just come from Tesla. So I don't know. Maybe the one day there will be. Maybe that will be when they are done innovating, which is like never seems to end.
Is there like a Spotify integration with
there
that
is
thing?
Spotify, Twitch. I do need to take a moment, whereas I'm gonna go get username and passwords and go sort that out. So Twitch is on it, Hulu's on it. Which if you have the right plan, you can watch live TV. I don't have Hulu anymore. I stopped paying for it because it was just a big expense of stuff I was not utilizing well.
With ads.
I paid for the version where I had no ads, but I did occasionally still had ads depending on the channel integration, which always...
Same thing with Amazon Prime Video. Like, I'm paying for this. Why am I getting ads for other shows? I just want to watch the show that I want to watch.
So for the Amazon
That's
ones,
so annoying.
You can skip them.
Yes, but I don't want to have to.
Yeah, I agree. It was the Hulu ones were the most annoying, right? It wouldn't be if the ads were good and whatever it is, and it's 10 seconds. No, they were 90 seconds times 4 times in a half-hour show, and they were the worst. And then they were repeated. And I am so glad I don't have that part that pisses me off anymore in my life. So anyhow, YouTube, Twitch, there's a web browser, there is Netflix. I feel like I'm Spotify. What else? I feel like I'm missing something.
Have you seen Knives Out, by the way?
No.
You should watch it. It's very good.
Why should I watch it?
Don't assume anything about the movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about the movie.
Okay.
You should definitely watch it. I really enjoyed it. I was really anti-watching this movie because everyone was talking to me about how I should watch the movie. I finally did, and I really enjoyed the movie.
Okay, then I will take that advice, and maybe I'll rent it tonight. Because I keep seeing it, I kept hearing about it, and it's the same thing with like Animal Crossing. Like, you're all fucking annoying. Will you all just shut the hell up? I don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yeah,
and
this a friend of mine said like, you should really watch this movie. I'm like, yeah. Everybody keeps telling me that. I don't want to watch it. You should really watch it. It's really good. It's definitely worth watching it.
Yeah,
the whole cast, and after you watch it again. There's so much stuff in there that at first watch you miss. And it's so good knowing at the end of the movie how everything works.
Interesting.
That you want to watch it again.
Okay, so I do believe it's available for me to like rent. So maybe I'll...
I bought it on Google Play. Wasn't that much more expensive than renting
That's
it.
usually what I do is if the movie sounds like it's going to likely be something I'm going to like, and it's $6 to rent or it's $8 to buy, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? That few dollar difference isn't going to break my bank.
Another thing is don't skip. Like, don't like skip through the movie.
Okay.
That doesn't work.
Okay. We'll take that advice.
It's a very entertaining movie.
I think we've talked enough.
Okay, let's see. Where can they find you, Alan?
You can find me on Twitter if you need to. Twitter.com/CHAESS. That is my last name.
You can find me on Twitter at WebDevy, WEBDEVVIE. And for feedback, you can reach the podcast at Polymatic.media. Our music is by Seuns, which you can find at Polymatic.link/EK. Our Twitter is The Polymatic. Our website is Polymatic.media. And I hope you tune in next time.